Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Pat Cassell joining us in studio as well. So we've been talking in the first segment about MGM Resorts' plan to turn the Route 91, well, I guess you could call it a lot, but the place where 58 people lost their lives, well, they're turning it into a parking lot. They've announced plans to turn it into a lot for the new Raiders stadium. Now, they did say, yeah, we also plan on doing putting a little memorial in there. But they haven't done that yet, and they've already started plans on construction to build it into a parking lot. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's wrong for a lot of different reasons. And I think they're making a big mistake. And then this poor young guy, his name's Rudy Arco. He used to live here in Las Vegas. And his family says the reason why he left Las Vegas was because of the Route 91 massacre. So he moves to Texas not that long ago, and now he loses his life from what he thought he was escaping as he was shot and gunned down over the weekend in that shooting that killed 7 people. It's horrible. His sister said he felt that Vegas was just getting too big, and then the man ends up losing his life in Texas.
It reminds me of the song by Alanis Morissette. Isn't it ironic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd use the term ironic. I think it's sad, and I think it's horrible, and I think my heart goes out to him and his family. Yeah, it's just terrible that the reason why he left Las Vegas was to get away from this sort of stuff. So we're taking your phone calls on this as well. What do you think about this MGM Resorts decision to turn the Route 91 Festival lot into a paid-to-park parking lot for Raiders Stadium? You know, listen, if they want to make a profit off it, that's fine. But the fact that they're kind of putting the memorial in the back end of this and they're starting with construction to make money off of it, I find it to be disgusting. Keep in mind, this is the same company that filed a counter lawsuit against the victims and their families. The number to call, GCI Guys Hotline, is 257-5396. Again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. What do you think about this? Let's start off with Brady. Brady, what's going on?
What's up, Brady?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. I wanted to bring up the point with you mentioned Walmart and their banning of the ammo and the right to carry your gun into the store.
We're getting to that next segment, Brady.
But I'm trying to tie it into your MGM, too. Again, the problem is after the fact. These people are dead from that shooter. The people in Walmart are dead from the shooter. And what does Walmart or MGM want to do? Nothing for security. They want to take the ammo and guns away instead of putting people in their store that are armed.
Why can't you do both?
Why
can't you do both?
They should. How come MGM hasn't done anything to beef up their security?
Can you do both, Brady?
I'm sure you can.
Okay, so I agree with you then. They should do both.
What are you going to do now when I walk into the store today and I go into my Smith's and my Walmart and I have my gun on my hip legally? Are they going to run out of that store and stop me?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them that question. They're asking.
Don't you think that's going to cause a lot of problems?
They have the right to turn away business.
Okay, well, Brady, here's the deal. Okay, it is a private. Okay, this isn't public property. It is private property. When you walk on private property, as long as you don't discriminate someone based on race, gender, you can tell them to leave if you don't like the shirt that you're wearing. If you're wearing an NRA shirt and they don't like it, they can ask you to leave because of that. Now, you may not like that. You may not think it's fair, and I don't necessarily agree with that either, but they have the right to ask you to leave if you're carrying a gun. I
don't feel that's correct because they're going over state law and federal law. They should be, since they sell 20% of the ammo in the United States, they're going to stop that. I think they're making a huge decision. You're going to see the NRA and all the conservative people that carry their guns not shopping at Walmart,
but let's be very
shopping at Smith's. There's going to be a boycott like you've never seen.
Okay, well, let's be very clear
and where
here.
They're going to go, Whole Foods?
Let's be very clear
Sprouts?
here.
That's why we need to stop this right now. It's absolutely asinine.
Let's be very...
Target?
What do you mean, Target? I don't understand what you're saying right now. I think JD's trying to make a joke.
No, he's trying to say all these people are going to jump in the game. I just heard on the radio.
No, I'm saying where are they going to shop?
They're describing the NRA as a terroristic organization. I just heard that on the radio right before you came back.
Yeah, it's true. They in California they want to do that, which is wrong.
That's the slope that we're going into.
Okay, but hold on a second, Brady. Let's your position, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there should be more guns in society. That is your answer to all these issues, correct? Am I right?
I believe there should be more guns.
Okay, so okay, well that's
gun owners that can use a gun in a professional manner.
Okay, but Brady, that's absurd.
If you don't know anything about a gun and you're walking around with your gun on, you don't know nothing about it.
Okay,
you shouldn't be wearing one.
Brady, your position on all these mass shootings and all these people that have been mowed down and gunned down and died. By the way, 53 people, I believe, died in mass shootings last month. And your position, what you would look in the families' faces who have lost loved ones and say, listen, what is it? The families are saying, what's the answer? This bloodshed needs to stop. And your position and your answer would be, we need more guns in society. Brady, I appreciate the phone call, but that is an absurd position. That is absurd. More guns is not the answer. That is absurd.
Well, you can't go into a casino with an open carry.
No, I know. And so Brady can be angry all he wants to, but they have the right to do that. 702-257-5396 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. 257-5396. Let's go to Nigel. Nigel, what's going on?
Good morning. I rang you guys last week. I'm from London, and we live in Vegas. So thank you both for taking my call.
Sure.
I wanted to say 2 points about the gentleman who left Las Vegas and was gunned down and murdered in.
Yes, sir. His name is Rudy Arco. Yes, sir.
That's right. It's disgusting. But I think on the flip of this, I want to say something which I think you may find quite remarkable. We live in Las Vegas and we live in London. And my partner and I feel safer in Las Vegas than we do in London. Mm-hmm. And Londoners and Britons do not have the right to bear arms. But London is a very dangerous, violent city. And Americans may not realize this, but it is a dangerous, violent
That is a very, very valid point, Nigel. And let me tell you something about Las Vegas. I've lived here almost 20 years, and I'm sure you will agree with this. Considering the lifestyle that we live, and I'm talking about 24/7 lifestyle with the drinking and the gambling and everything else. Make no mistake about it, there's some dangerous parts to Las Vegas. But I think Las Vegas as a whole is pretty damn safe when you consider the lifestyle that we all live and all the tourists that are coming in here. I feel pretty safe here, and it's horrible what happened October 1. There is crime in this city, but I think it could be a hell of a lot worse.
Absolutely. And when my partner and I walk around and we may wear some nice jewelry, or my partner does, we go out somewhere, we do not feel intimidated. We feel the presence of law and order here is much stronger. On the point about the MGM and their profiteering about parking, let's not forget the MGM was the first casino resort in Las Vegas to introduce parking charges in their garages.
And Pat brought that up. You're right.
Stupid.
You are. Nigel, I'm so glad you called. And I'm glad you live here in Vegas part-time, I guess, and stay safe, my friend. I appreciate the phone call.
Hey, thanks for the call, Nigel.
Yeah. JD, you've only lived here, what, a year and a half? Do you think Las Vegas is safe?
I lived there for about 2 years and 4 months. I think Las Vegas is extremely safe in specific parts, but if you want to hang out, in North Las Vegas near Nellis, that's probably a questionable idea. Sure. But I especially believe that the Strip is very safe, and the Strip's very interesting because there's a lot of undercover police officers on the Strip at all times, but you don't see them. You don't get that presence of martial law almost, because you could actually see 200 or 300 armed or fully adorned police officers down there. You don't see that, but you're still protected. There's cameras everywhere, and there's undercover cops all over the place, and so it's actually a very safe
and
place.
New Year's, they're really prepared too. Prepared.
I agree. 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Scott. Scott, what's going on?
What's up, Scott?
All right. I just want to chime in real quick. I think that my point, and I'll be quick, is you're responsible for your own security. That's where it starts to begin with. Now, as far as the guns go in Walmart, I mean, you're going to pull ammo off the shelves, fine. So if that's what they want to do, so be it. But if somebody walks into a Walmart with an AR-15 or whatever and starts dropping people, how do you neutralize that? The only possible way is with force. So people keep missing the point. You keep restricting the guns. Criminals don't care. They're not going to get a background check, or maybe they will. Maybe they'll buy it legally and go in and murder. If the intent is there, the only way to neutralize the attack is with force.
Okay, I agree.
Just to combat it.
I agree. Okay, let me respond to that. That's a valid point. So, yes, you're right. If somebody walks in with an assault rifle, at that moment, the only way really you're going to stop that person, for the most part, you hope law enforcement's there, but if they're not there, you hope somebody is carrying.
By having another gun,
I understand.
you actually save lives.
I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with that. And I never even said I agree with the Walmart policy that they're putting in place where you can't carry. But I think if Walmart is going to put that into place, which clearly they are, I think it would be wise for them to have at least 1 or 2 security guards in every Walmart that is carrying. And maybe they will do that, Scott. I don't know.
Yep, and I think that would be a great thing. To show of force is always best. But the fact is, you got confident, well-trained people. If I have my Glock 40 on my hip and I know just, bam, he comes in and starts firing,
sure.
I pull it out, bam, bam, bam,
but
bam.
here's what I don't want.
I save 20, 30, 50 lives. And
yes.
That's why in schools, when it's a gun-free zone, all that is a license to go in and murder. You know what I mean? If you had
Here's what I'm not comfortable with, though, Scott. That's where we disagree, Scott. I don't think every teacher should be carrying a gun. I don't think that's the world that we should be living in. I have no problem with security, but to say that you want kindergarten teachers and 2nd, 3rd grade teachers to all be carrying guns, I think is ridiculous.
Not everybody should carry a gun. But if there's somebody, let's say he was a military veteran or something, and he's a teacher, he knows how to handle a firearm. So when this crazy bastard comes into the classroom, turns the corner, bam, that teacher.
So we should do nothing about guns.
Whole classroom.
All right, but
children.
We should do nothing about assault rifles. We should do nothing about background checks. Is really the answer here more guns? Because
98% of your shootings happen in the strictest zones for guns.
And I understand
98%.
That's correct.
And I understand that.
If they know they can go into a church and there's no guns allowed in church, they're just going to go in and commit mass murder. And that's another thing. You shouldn't have, if you go into a casino or something, if you can't be around alcohol if you have a CCW. So the people who are
Scott,
not the people. They keep trying to restrict the good people who can fight back on these crazy attackers, man.
Scott, I appreciate the phone call. I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that.
Brian, though, and if you look at this specific in Texas, this guy tried to get a gun legally and was turned away. He bought a gun through a private sale.
No background check is needed for that.
No,
that is
private
a loophole.
Sales should have to have a background check.
Absolutely.
I would change that rule, but I will sit here and tell you, bad people will get weapons. I don't think teachers should have guns.
No,
I'm with you.
Neither do I.
No,
that's crazy.
But there should be
that's nuts.
Armed guards at every entrance of every school.
That's the thing that's killing me.
And the same thing with Walmart.
I mean, I'm older than both of you.
Any place,
armed guards at every entrance to
that's
every
scary,
school.
Man.
Are you kidding me?
I'm being serious.
Hold on. You think that every entrance to every school in America should have an armed gun
entrance should have an armed guard.
It's said that we have to have metal detectors.
I'm not kidding you.
This conversation is scary.
At this point, why would that not take place?
All right, let's take some more phone calls on this. 257-5396, the GCI guys hotline, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, what's going on?
What's up, Chuck?
Hey, Shapiro, I agree with you on the Raiders thing. But did you see the Hong Kong demonstrations, JD and Pat? Did you see some of those posters or signs?
Yeah.
We need a Second Amendment. Did you see that?
Yes.
In Hong Kong?
Yes.
What do you think of that?
I think, first of all, I believe in the Second Amendment. I don't have a problem with it. Never have. But I firmly support it. Here's the issue, though, at hand. We have a lot of things going on in the United States, and it starts at the top. I mean, if you look at the Fast and the Furious, we were selling guns to south of the border, and they were coming back to kill Americans here in the United States. Think about it. I mean, it's a very peculiar web we're weaving here.
Yep.
But that's in Hong Kong. I think that's great because their First Amendment is being attacked, and without the second, you don't have the first.
Well, let me. I understand, Chuck, and I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate the call.
Hong Kong's crazy because the wealth disparity is so aggressive there.
But what is driving me crazy here, people on the right that say the Democrats are trying to take all your guns away. That is not the case, okay? Maybe you have a few nut jobs out there that think nobody should have a gun, but the majority of Democrats do not feel that way.
Where do you stand with Beto O'Rourke on this?
Well, listen, I think I'm not a big Beto O'Rourke fan. I think he's putting a lot of – well, let me answer the question. I think there's a lot of emotion right now with him in his state and what's going on, and rightfully so, but I also think he needs to be – just like I talk about Trump every day, Beto O'Rourke needs to be more responsible with his words. You can't just go into somebody's house and take their guns away. I don't always agree with Booker either. Let me be very clear.
He just got nailed again for improprieties when he was mayor of Newark.
Well, I mean, that's a different issue. But
and he wants to create an entire sect of the government to combat white supremacy.
Let me be very clear on this. That's a different issue. But let me be very clear on this gun issue. I think I've been clear. As far as these assault weapons go, these weapons of war, if people want to call up and say, well, this weapon does this and that weapon does that, let me be very clear. Texas, El Paso, what happened in Dayton, what happened here in Las Vegas. Those are the types of weapons I want off the streets.
And we agreed on that, but here's the other issue, and this is from the gun perspective, and I'm in the middle, okay? And you're from Nebraska, or Iowa. Guns are big, but every weapon you go hunting with is a weapon of destruction.
I understand, and many of those people, I shouldn't say many, but some of those people that hunt animals also want to decapitate their heads off and put it up in the garage, and I think they're a bunch of psychotic losers.
And some of those bullets, some of those weapons that you use are, I mean, they're
we talked about.
They mangle people.
I want to get more into detail on what exactly Walmart is doing with this ammunition, but before we do that, we'll take a few more calls at 257-5396. Let's go to Joel. Joel, what's going on?
What's up, Joel?
Good morning, guys. With all due respect to your not last caller, but the guy before that who says that he carries his Glock and that he can drop people, when I hear that,
you think Boondock Saints?
I gotta wonder how much training guys like that have had.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And that is the key to people who are going to be responsible for other people's lives. What training are you going to give them? We see police. If you ask any of your friends who are cops, how many hours a year they spend training
a lot
for situations like that, it's a damn lot.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a guy who straps on a 40 millimeter on his hip, and suddenly he's going to be able to hit his target in the most stressful situation anytime and every time without worrying about hitting a bystander or somebody else. Who's an innocent
let's just say,
person.
Joel, you make a very valid point. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's just say you're sitting with your family in the front of a movie theater, and all of a sudden some guy in the front of the theater has a knife or something, right? And he's attacking somebody. What if that person in the back of the movie theater is not properly trained and they have a weapon on them? I'd be in fear for my life. I would be afraid the guy would shoot me. I mean, look.
Exactly. I mean, the guy
that's
has
just
no
bad luck.
training under the most stressful situation possible. You're in fear for your life. What guarantee, not guarantee, that's not even the right word, because there is no guarantee. But what training has this guy gone through?
Yeah, exactly.
I can feel confident that he's going to protect the people who need protecting.
The militia training out
point,
there is
Joel.
probably more extensive than the police force.
Yeah. That's a good point, Joel. I appreciate the phone call. Thank you. Listen, he makes a valid point. I want to go into this really quickly, then we got to take a break. So we've been talking a little bit about Walmart. So they're dramatically stepping back ammunition sales. They're discontinuing sales of short barrel rifle ammunition, such as the .223 caliber and the 5.56 caliber, discontinuing sales of handgun ammunition, and discontinuing sales entirely in Alaska, which is interesting. It's also asking shoppers no longer to open carry firearms in stores, which we have been talking about. The CEO, Doug McMillon, announces the changes following these two deadly shootings, of course, at Walmart stores over the summer. Now, look, this could be a business decision, or it could be a decision, heartfelt to try to do something in regards to these mass shootings, or it could be both. I don't know. I'm not going to get inside his head. I think it is the right decision, in my personal opinion, so long as you have armed guards in Walmart. Let's take some more phone calls. 257-5396. Let's go to John. John, what's going on?
What's up, John?
Hey, good morning. Question. NRA supports open carry all over the place. Good guy with the gun stops a bad guy with the gun. How come you can't open carry at the NRA convention?
That's a great point. By the way, John.
Afraid of their own people?
Yeah, John, you know what? And by the way, John, stay on the line here. This was the NRA's statement in regard to this Walmart thing. They said it's shameful to see Walmart succumb to the pressure of the anti-gun elites. They say the truth is Walmart's actions today will not make us any safer. John, you bring up such a good point. Why don't they let people carry guns in their own event? It makes no sense.
They know their entire line is BS.
You're right.
They know at the end of the day they are completely full of it. Otherwise, there'd be guys packing full auto at the NRA convention.
You are so right, John, and I'm so glad you brought that up. And by the way, if
People
you want to
pull up in Panzer tanks
if you want to talk about elites
with flamethrowers,
let's talk about Mitch McConnell, John. You don't think the NRA is in his back pocket? You want to talk about elites? You want to talk about succumbing to pressure? You don't think that Mitch McConnell's succumbing to the NRA pressure? You don't think that Donald Trump is succumbing to the pressure of the NRA? They're absolute hypocrites and they're liars.
Well, I don't know. I don't even say succumb. I think they're fully owned subsidiaries.
They are. They are, John. John, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to try to get somebody from the NRA to come on this show. We've had some of them on before. And, John, you bring up a great point, and I promise you when we get them in studio, I don't know if it'll be next week. When we do, I promise you I'm going to want you to call up and ask them that question. Can you do that for me?
I would love to talk to Dana Loesch.
Oh, God, is she a witch, isn't she? Dana the Witch
I would love to
Loesch.
have a nice conversation with her.
She is a witch. Oh, John, thank you so much for the call. I appreciate
it. Good one, guys.
Thank you.
McConnell basically waiting on the White House's decision.
Yeah, he's waiting on what Trump's. If Trump wants to move forward, he's going to move forward. He made that statement yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're right, though. You're right, though. Dana Loesch is kind of hot.
Oh, yeah.
You're right about that.
I've seen her in person.
She's a witch, but she's hot. You're right about
no,
that.
And that NRA statement was just ridiculous because, I mean, how many Walmarts are across the United States? There's what? 4,000, maybe 10,000 Walmarts.
There's quite a few.
They probably sell 30 or 40% of all ammunition.
At least 20
to the United States of America. Yeah. And it's guns. Guns do kill people, but the bullets are what really kills people. And if you could make those bullets more expensive, if you could limit the accessibility to those bullets, that's a huge deal as far as I'm concerned.
All right, I'll tell you what we got to do. We got to take a quick break, and then we have to go to the news. By the way, the news today is going to be brought to you by our very good friend Chris Wynn, who is in bed right now. He's gonna be our news anchor in bed. Boy, that's kind of a gross thought. But anyway, Pat's shaking his head. But we'll also take your phone calls coming up on the other side of the break, so please hang tight. The number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. Again, that number, 702-257-5396. We're going to get more into this Walmart issue. Plenty of other stuff to get to on the other side of the break in the news. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take. All right, welcome back. It is The Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro here, along with Pat Cassell, joins us in studio. In a few minutes, we'll take more of your calls at 257-5396. And I also want to get to the idiotic remarks of Meghan McCain, the talentless Meghan McCain. You're not going to believe what she said about guns on The View yesterday. Why is this woman even on TV? Oh, yeah. Because of her dad. What else has she ever accomplished in life? Anyway, we'll get to that. Don't even get me started with her. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a few minutes. But, our news director, program director, news director, he does everything, news anchor. John Schaefer, usually at this time, he'd be doing the news today, but he's on vacation. He decided going to catch a Penn State football game was more important. By the way, I don't blame him. He deserves a vacation now and then. But, we had Chris Wynn, friend of the show, contributor in studio yesterday. We said, Chris, why don't you do the news? Now, Chris likes to sleep. Right? He likes to sleep, which we all do, right? When we can. So he's like, wow, 10 a.m., that's really early. I said, well, why don't you do it from your bed? I want to hear Chris Wynn do the news from his bedside. So, Chris, thank you for joining us, my friend. Are you awake and alive?
Oh, I am 100% awake. And, gentlemen, it's good to join you. Pat Cassell in studio as well, too. Wow.
Hey, Chris, what's going on, bud?
New. What's going on, Pat? I'm doing great. This might be something that John Schaefer might explore at a later date to do it this way, because I'm telling you, it is comfort at its best. It is unbelievable. It's 10 a.m. in Vegas, and I'm lounging at the pad in my bed, getting ready to check out some things on TV. So it's not a bad deal.
So here we go. It is the debut news anchor, Chris Wynn. Chris, take it away, my friend.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to start off with a story that is going to be sobering, to say the least, as 5 members of one family, 2 charter school students, and also a marine biologist were among the 34 presumed dead after a diving boat caught fire 48 hours ago off the coast of Santa Cruz Island, north of Los Angeles. U.S. Coast Guard said Tuesday it was halting search efforts for any survivors to focus on a recovery mission for the remaining passengers and 1 crew member unaccounted for after the boat caught fire early Monday morning. Now, look, this is a story that's been, of course, across social media as well as the national news for the past 2 days, and it's been extremely disturbing given we don't know exactly why this happened. It was a scuba diving boat that caught fire, and, of course, the tragedy is just unbelievable. And I guess
I like the commentary after reading the script. I like that. That's your style.
Well, I'm posing a question to you guys. Do you think there's something more to this? And you think that...
No, I don't. No.
It's obviously a tragedy, but this is something that we haven't seen before, and it's something that you just really can't explain.
No, I don't think that... I mean, listen, there'll be an investigation. They're going to try to figure out what happened here, but I don't think there was any foul play. At least I hope not, but not that it brings back any of these people that lost their lives tragically. This is a terrible story. We'll continue to monitor it. What else you got going for us, Mr. Seawin?
Well, we have, of course, the situation at the southern border has been well documented, to say the least. And Secretary of Defense Mark Esper has authorized the diverting of $3.6 billion in military construction funds for 11 wall projects on the southern border of Mexico, according to defense officials in a letter from Esper to the Senate Armed Service Committee, which has been obtained by CNN, the national network. Now, in his letter, Esper told Congress he has determined that 11 military construction projects along the international border with Mexico, with an estimated cost of $3.6 billion, are necessary to support the use of armed forces in connection with the national emergency. Now, the announcement fulfills a promise made by President Trump, of course, in February to tap military construction funds to build this border wall. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, this is in dispute among many people, and of course, Democrats in Washington, D.C., along with others, mm-hmm. are up in arms given this decision. And, this is something that begs the question of careful what you wish for, right, guys? Because if Democrats get in power, what can they do when it comes mm-hmm. to bringing up national issues, national security,
and you also brought up JD's favorite network, which is CNN. Isn't that right, JD?
Yes, I love CNN, Brian. Okay. I'm a huge CNN fan. Okay. It's my favorite.
I just wanted to get you involved in the news. That's all.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure that JD, along with Pat Casale, have Don Lemon posters somewhere in their residence.
On my dartboard.
Probably not. All right, C-Win, what else you got?
Well, forget 7 Rings, Ariana Grande. You talked about, of course, Brian, you brought up Ariana Grande earlier in the show.
Yes.
Well, she has an anthem which would more aptly be titled 8 Figures, to be exact, because that's how much the singer is suing fashion brand Forever 21 and beauty company Riley Rose for. Okay, this is because the likeness issue that she is dealing with there, and apparently stealing her name, likeness, and other intellectual property. According to the complaint, the company approached Grande for an endorsement deal late last year, which she explicitly declined due to Forever 21's unwillingness to pay her fair market value for a celebrity of Miss Grande's stature. For the record, her fair market value ranges from hundreds of thousands of dollars to, for long-term endorsement arrangements to millions of dollars. Despite the collapse of said proposal, Grande's camp alleges Forever 21 still benefited from the singer's brand by publishing at least 30 unauthorized images and videos misappropriating Miss Grande's name, image, likeness.
I'm going to bang my head against a wall.
In order to create a false perception.
Way too much.
Endorsement.
Okay,
Brian.
I'm going to criticize you right now in your news. You've done a fantastic job until this point. You just did a minute and a half on Ariana Grande. Shame on you. I'm very disappointed. I was going to give you an A+. You're now down to a D-, my friend.
All right, look, Shap, I'm up to the point. I'm trying to line things up with what you brought up in your show. This is not about me trying to find the stories that are most appropriate.
Am I getting into a fight with my news ancher live on the air right now? Is this really happening?
You are absolutely doing that.
You're fired, Chris. You're fired.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna circle back now to what.
Please do. What are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? Justin Bieber next? What's the next story?
Your in-studio host, Pat Casale. We used to do sports radio back in the day. We're talking, 2008, 2009.
Yes.
So I'm going to go to a sports story. The Cowboys had their centerpiece, gentlemen, of their offense back in the fold as Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys have agreed to terms on a 6-year, $90 million
How about
extension
that?
Wednesday to settle a disagreement fueling the Pro Bowlers' lengthy holdout, the team announced today. With the extension, Elliott is set to become the highest-paid running back in the NFL, compensation that the league's rushing title holder felt he deserved after leading all backs in rushing yards per game each of his last 3 seasons.
I like it.
In the NFL. Of course, it was one of the more highly publicized holdouts, gentlemen, of the offseason, and now it is official. He will be in the fold week 1.
That's a better story.
JD, Brian,
that's
Pat,
a better story.
What do you guys think? The Cowboys have their guy back.
He'll be injured. He'll get injured inside the first 2 weeks.
Most likely.
Really?
I think it's Ricky Williams reincarnated. I think that he doesn't really care about football. He's going to take that $50 million guaranteed and ride off into the sunset and probably underperform for a couple of years because that's just what happens these days. But he is 24 years old. He's a very talented running back. I just think they overpaid him.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing the lead singer of Creed, Scott Stapp. He grew up in Orlando. He's a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm going to be hanging out with him Friday, not to name drop, but I'm friends with all these '90s alternative rock guys.
That was subtle,
but
very subtle.
No, but I'm going to ask him about that because he's a big Cowboys fan. So, Chris, you did a really good job. I was actually going to give you an A-, if not for the Ariana Grande story. That was really disturbing.
You're killing me on the Ariana story.
Yeah.
You brought her up in the show.
You took just as much time. Listen, 31 people lost their lives on a boat, and you took just as much time talking about Ariana Grande's stupid clothing line. Who cares?
It's called being, well-rounded. That's what I do. That's my thing.
Well, I mean, based on your body type, I would agree. Yes, you are very well-rounded. I agree.
I am just camped out in my bed. I'm telling you, John Schaefer is going to be looking at opportunities to do this at his pad instead of coming in studio and have to sit between myself.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If you will agree, I will give you a chance to redeem yourself tomorrow morning. Do you agree to do that?
I think I can pull that off.
All right.
I think that is something that I can explore.
Go back to sleep and please dream about Ariana Grande. Okay, Mr. Wynn?
I will do that.
We appreciate it. There you go. News anchor Chris Wynn. Nice job. I'll give him a B- or so.
Sports would have been better.
Yeah, Ariana Grande disappointed me. But anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about here. So we're talking about gun violence. We're talking about what Walmart has done with the ammunition. We're going to take your phone calls at 257-5396. Meghan McCain yesterday was on The View, by the way, and she said there will be a lot of violence if guns are taken away. First of all, she is an absolute ignoramus moron. The only reason why she's on The View is because of her father, and every sentence usually starts with, my father this, my father that. And then she gets on The View. I think she is an absolute idiot.
The View sucks.
Well,
top to bottom.
I don't watch it, but I can tell you right now, at least Whoopi Goldberg has talent. She's funny. She's an actress. I like some of her films. Okay,
I can't not. Whoopi she's a comedian.
Yeah,
she's
funny. She's talented.
But she's not good on a talk show.
McCain is awful. What is she good at? She's disrespectful. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
What do you think about Joy Behar?
I don't like her either.
At least you're balanced.
I don't like her either. Listen, the problem with these women, not all of them. I respect Whoopi Goldberg. The problem with some of these women, they're not extremely well-spoken. They're not extremely educated when it comes to these. Not to say that I know everything either.
Did you hear about Joy Behar's epiphany the other day?
No.
Oh, it was brilliant. She met with Nancy Pelosi at a function, and you know what she said? Nancy Pelosi told her, if the Democrats don't get more moderate, they're going to get blown out in the 2020 election. And I'm like, really? Yeah. Epiphany. You didn't see that coming?
Quickly, before I get to phone
calls. They're
going
to get crushed if they don't come more to the right.
Quickly, before I get to phone calls, what do you give C-Win a grade, JD, when it comes to doing the news? Be honest. Don't lie. Don't lie to our listeners.
I'll give him a solid B.
All right, that's not horrible. Pat?
I got to give him a solid B because he closed it off with a great sports topic.
I give him a B-. Too long-winded, but I used to be a news anchor, so I can critique that. That's fine. All right, let's take some phone calls. 257-5396. Josh, I appreciate you waiting patiently on hold, my friend. What's on your mind?
What's up, Josh?
A couple of things. One of your callers said that guns were banned at the NRA, and that's actually not true. They're banned when, like, presidents speak there because the Secret Service makes that, but normally you can carry there. But
okay, well, we'll look into that. You might be right. I don't know.
But as far as solutions, they seem to be all over the board from background checks to
I'm not all over the board. I can only speak for myself. I've made it very clear what I'd like to see happen.
Yeah, in general, I guess I'm saying.
I got you. I got you. Go ahead.
Politicians. But I guess I don't really have a solution that would pass Congress. It'll just get bogged down in debates.
Sadly, you're right. Sadly, you're right.
Nothing will get done.
Yeah, sadly, you're right, Josh. Listen, I agree with all the above, right, Josh? And you tell me if you disagree or not. Mental illness is a huge issue in this country. So, yes, I do agree with the president. But I think when the NRA and the president brings up mental illness, they want to deflect from other issues. Part of it is mental illness. Part of it is the type of weapons that we sell to the public. That's another huge issue here. And, there are a lot of issues that we need to discuss. Red flag laws. There's a lot of things that I think Democrats and Republicans need to come together, butt their heads together, and get something done. It's not just one thing here. There's a lot of issues.
That red flag law is a rough law.
Well, there's a lot of things
I get a hair on my behind about my neighbor. I make a phone call. Boom. Yeah. That's not a good law.
in theory, it makes sense, but it needs to be ironed out.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Because technically, you could say, I don't like this person at work. They're making more money than I am.
That's absurd.
I think they're racist. I think they're this.
That's absurd.
But that's where it could be right now if changes aren't made to the law.
I agree. That's absurd. However, the opposite end of that is the Parkland shooter. The police were called to his house over 80 times.
Well, that's totally different than what we're talking about here.
Well, I understand that. But when you talk about red flag laws, that's a part of it. If the police are called to your home more than a dozen times, I think you might want to put a red flag on that person.
But that's not a red flag law. That you're right. But I mean, if I get a hair up my behind and I say, I know you got guns. I pick up a phone and say, this guy really, you should hear how he talks. He's dangerous. They take, what? For you to get a gun back is an act of Congress. It could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to have your rights reinstated.
Yeah.
The red flag law is not well written. It's not well thought out.
I want to get Chris Rock on our show, and I want to talk to him about his statement that he made where he said, how you stop shootings? You make bullets
$100 a bullet.
You make bullets extremely expensive, and that's 100% true.
$100 per bullet. I don't know if that'll solve everything, but I actually would be in favor of that. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Carl. Carl, what's going on?
What's up, Carl?
Yeah, hey, Brian, JD.
What's
how
up?
You doing?
Good.
Doing
I have
well.
a quick question with the Walmart thing.
Sure.
A quick statement. One of your favorite talk show hosts, his name is Root, I think. He said yesterday on TV on his show.
Wayne Allen Root, you're talking about. Yeah.
He's talking about war.
The part of the plant, the weed that grows
the absolute fraud and conspiracy theorist, Wayne Allen Root. Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, he said that, oh my God, they're not going to sell guns, they're not going to sell bullets. I'm having all my listeners boycott them. They're going to be sorry. They're going to go out of business. He's going to put them out of business. You should have heard him. So I happen to have a friend who's a executive with Walmart. I called him last night, and you know what he told me?
What's that?
He said, number one, we're the largest retail organization in the world.
Exactly.
In the world.
Mm-hmm.
He says, a man like that, he wouldn't want to say anything, but he said a man like that, which means he's a nobody, his listeners are going to put us out of business. He started laughing.
Well, Wayne Allen Root's a complete fraud, and I don't even like talking about it because it's so irrelevant. But the guy says something stupid a few weeks ago and says Donald Trump is the king of Israel, and he starts gloating and bragging about it. Listen, first of all, the guy performs fellatio on Donald Trump on the radio every day. That's what he does.
Here's how big this Walmart thing is. The 5 Walton kids, they're all worth $50 billion a piece. I mean, that's how much money this company makes. It's a huge deal that they are deciding to stop selling ammunition in their stores.
Well,
that's a very large deal.
I think it is a huge deal. After Columbine, I think it was Kmart. They don't exist anymore, right? Kmart doesn't exist anymore, I don't think. But after the Columbine shooting, they stopped selling ammunition. Listen, I think we're seeing a tipping point, and I think people have finally had enough. And listen, I think there's a lot of things that need to be done, a lot of laws that need to change, and Republicans, Democrats need to work together. But when you have people like Mitch McConnell out there, you have Donald Trump, you have these Republicans that suck the you-know-what out of the NRA, and the NRA keeps donating to their campaigns.
I'll tell you this, man. McConnell stated clearly yesterday, and Pat and I talked about this, if Donald Trump wants to move forward with gun control, I am supporting it. I will put the bill on the table.
He's not going to.
Yeah, you will.
He's not going to.
You know what the problem is?
You don't know that, Brian.
Okay, well, we'll make a bet.
Let me say this. You're looking at you look at the whole spectrum of the gun violence issue. It's a lot deeper than just saying we're going to just take away your Second Amendment rights. We do background check. I mean, Illinois, Chicago has some of the strictest rules. And look what happens every weekend.
But I'll tell you some crazy stats. There's been almost 226 million background checks since 1990, and only 1.6 million have been turned down.
Well, let me ask Carl and JD.
Scary.
Let me ask Carl and JD a question here, okay? Because JD seems to think that Donald Trump is going to do something as far as gun control goes. Let me ask you a question. After the October 1 shooting, when 58 people lost their lives, what did Donald Trump do? What did Mitch McConnell do? What did they do to change some laws in this country besides ban bump stock?
This is totally different.
What did they do? No, it's not.
Bump stock was a big deal, but I don't believe bump stock had anything to do with
not enough.
October 1.
Walmart is a totally different animal, Brian. You've probably got 5 to 10 million people going to Walmart every single day.
You just said that you believe that Donald Trump is going to change.
I believe because people are still dying.
I'm asking you a question.
So I do believe something will be done.
58 people lost their lives in Vegas. What did Donald Trump do?
Again,
what did he do?
That wasn't. Well, he banned bump stocks.
That's not enough.
Okay, in your opinion.
But he made an act. He moved forward. He did something nobody else did.
That was an isolated situation. Walmart, when someone walks into Walmart, which is, like they stated, the biggest retail organization in the world, that's a whole different animal, Brian.
What does it have to do with Donald Trump?
I'm just saying he's going to be pushed to do something. He's going to have to do something.
So you think because Walmart...
You think that the NRA owns Donald Trump and owns McConnell, and you are totally incorrect.
Absolutely, you're right.
I believe.
I agree with you.
So you don't think the NRA?
Right. They're not subsidiaries of the NRA, as one of our callers so eloquently stated earlier. That is not the case.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
They're still politicians.
Right, hold on.
They still have to protect 330 million American citizens.
Let me ask you a question.
And they're not morons.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you some facts.
Despite the fact what you think.
Okay, well, I'll give you some facts here. Okay, after the Texas El Paso shooting, Donald Trump said he was for universal background checks. Donald Trump said he was going to look into these weapons of war. He made those comments in the days after the Texas El Paso shooting. Guess what changed? He met with the director of the NRA several times. And after those meetings with the director of the NRA, do you know what he said, JD? Do you know what he said? He was asked about universal background checks. He stepped off that position. He stepped off the position of assault weapons. And you know what he did? He's only talking about mental illness. So let me ask you.
What did Obama do?
So those are. We're not talking about Obama.
No.
We're not talking about Obama.
Obama was in the same position.
We can't talk about Obama. We can't talk about Bush.
We can talk about
Reagan because they're not Trump.
No, I didn't say that.
Right. Despite the fact that they're presidents, they aren't Trump.
I didn't say that.
But under Obama's watch, how many shootings were there?
Guys, I will talk about Obama in the next segment. I will gladly do that with you. But I just asked JD a direct question about the NRA, and he's saying the NRA doesn't influence Donald Trump. That's absurd.
The NRA influences all politics, period, but not to the degree that
they
Trump.
So why did Donald Trump?
They do not.
Then
own
why
Donald
did
Trump.
Donald Trump change his stance after meeting with the members of the NRA?
They're trying to word it correctly to make it sound right because everything's about mental illness.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you,
mental illness is a big deal,
right?
If you've got someone that's all doped up on SSRI inhibitors and they have a weapon and they don't care about their lives because they're so depressed and suicidal, they don't care about what's going on.
Do you know
and a lot of that has to do with these major pharmaceutical companies.
If you're driving in your car and you're carrying a weapon and you have a CCW and you get DUI'd, you lose your rights. The rules are strict, man. I'm sorry.
Got to take a break.
As they should be.
Got to take a break. We'll continue this conversation. The Hollywood conservative, Mr. X, will be joining us next segment. Again, my personal opinion, based on what I just said, the NRA certainly is in the back pocket of many of these politicians. And make no mistake about it, in my opinion, it absolutely influences these politicians in their decision-making. You cannot tell me that guys like Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump are not being influenced by the NRA. Is it the only influencer? No, but they're a big influence on many of these people, particularly on the right. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. Number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. You are listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.